There is something nobody tells you about becoming rich. It is not simply about making more money. It is about becoming the kind of person who can create money, protect money, multiply money, and keep it when everyone around you is losing theirs. Most people think wealth begins when you earn your first million. It doesn't. Wealth begins much earlier. It begins the moment you stop thinking like someone who is desperate for money and start thinking like someone who understands power. And this is where Machiavelli becomes interesting. Niccolo Machiavelli never wrote a modern book about getting rich. He wasn't teaching people how to invest in stocks, start businesses, or build online brands. But he understood something much deeper. He understood power. He understood human nature. He understood ambition. He understood why some people rise while others remain trapped in the same position for decades. And if you combine those principles with the realities of money, you discover a brutal truth. Before you can become wealthy, you must pass through 3 stages, 3 psychological stages, 3 tests. And most people never make it past the first. They work hard, they earn money, they spend it, they repeat the cycle. Then they wonder why their life never changes. But the wealthy person plays a different game. They understand that money is not only something you earn, money is something you command. And if you want to understand the 3 stages that can transform your relationship with money, watch this video until the very end. Because the 3rd stage is where everything changes. It is the stage where money stops being the thing you chase and starts becoming the thing that works for you. But before you reach that point, you must survive the first 2. And the first one is the most painful. Stage 1. Escape the psychology of survival. Imagine 2 people receiving the exact same amount of money. One receives $10,000. The other receives $10,000. One sees freedom. The other sees everything he can finally buy. A new phone, new clothes, a better apartment, a vacation, a car, a night out, maybe even expensive things he doesn't actually need. Within months, the money is gone. And then something strange happens. He goes back to being broke. But now he feels even worse. Because for a brief moment, he experienced what it felt like to have money. This is the first trap. When someone has spent most of their life struggling financially, money doesn't immediately feel like a tool. It feels like relief. And relief is dangerous. Because when you are desperate for relief, you don't think long-term. You think about ending the pain. This is why someone can receive a large amount of money and still remain poor. They haven't escaped the psychology of scarcity. They have simply given scarcity more money to spend. Machiavelli understood human behavior. People often act according to immediate incentives. And when someone is financially desperate, the immediate incentive is simple. Feel better now, forget tomorrow. Pay the bill now, buy the thing now, celebrate now, escape now. And tomorrow can take care of itself. But tomorrow always arrives, and tomorrow eventually sends the bill. This is why the first stage of wealth is not making money. It is learning to delay gratification. You must learn to tolerate discomfort. You must learn to say no. You must learn to look at something you desperately want and walk away. Not because you cannot afford it, but because you understand that affordability and wisdom are not the same thing. You might be able to afford the car, but can you afford the maintenance? You might be able to afford the vacation, but can you afford the opportunity cost? You might be able to afford the expensive watch, but what could that money become if you invested it instead? This is the difference between looking rich and becoming rich. The poor-minded person asks, "What can I buy with this money?" The wealthy-minded person asks, "What can this money become?" That single question changes everything, because money has 2 lives. The first life is consumption. The second life is reproduction. You can spend $1,000 and receive something that disappears. Or you can use that $1,000 to acquire an asset, develop a skill, build a business, or create something that can generate more money. The difference isn't the amount. The difference is what you expect the money to do. And this is where most people fail. They want money to make them feel successful. The wealthy want money to produce results. That's a completely different mindset. Think about a farmer. A farmer who eats every seed he receives will never have a harvest. The seed must be sacrificed. It must be buried. For a while, it looks like nothing is happening. Then something begins growing underneath the surface. And eventually, the seed becomes many times larger than what was originally planted. Money works the same way. But people hate the stage where the seed is underground. They want immediate results. They want to invest today and become rich tomorrow. They start a business and expect success immediately. They upload videos and expect millions of views immediately. They learn a skill and expect thousands of dollars immediately. And when nothing happens, they quit. This is why patience is not simply a personality trait. Patience is an economic advantage. The person who can wait longer can often make better decisions, because desperation makes you vulnerable, and vulnerability makes you easy to manipulate. Think about it. Who is easier to control? The person who has 6 months of savings, or the person who desperately needs money by Friday? The person with options, or the person with no options? The person who can walk away, or the person who has no choice but to accept whatever is offered? This is why financial independence is ultimately about power. The more financially stable you become, the more choices you have. And choices are power. Machiavelli repeatedly emphasized the importance of having strength, preparation, and independence, rather than relying entirely on the mercy of others. Apply that principle to money. If your entire existence depends on one paycheck, you are vulnerable. If one unexpected bill can destroy your month, you are vulnerable. If losing your job means you immediately cannot eat, you are vulnerable. If you have to accept terrible treatment because you cannot afford to leave, you are vulnerable. The first stage of becoming wealthy is therefore building a financial foundation strong enough to give you breathing room. Not luxury, not status. Breathing room. Because when you have breathing room, you can think. And when you can think, you can plan. And when you can plan, you can act. This is why your first financial goal should not necessarily be looking rich. It should be becoming difficult to destroy. Build an emergency fund, reduce unnecessary debt, control your spending, increase your income, learn valuable skills, stop competing with people who are secretly struggling. And most importantly, stop using money to prove something to people who aren't paying your bills. This is one of the most important lessons you will ever learn. You don't become wealthy by convincing other people that you are wealthy. You become wealthy by making yourself financially difficult to control. Because there will always be someone richer than you. Someone with a better car, a bigger house, a more expensive watch, a more luxurious vacation. If your happiness depends on winning that competition, you have already lost. There is no finish line, because the moment you buy the thing, someone else buys something more expensive. The moment you reach one level, another level appears. And suddenly, you are not building wealth anymore. You are funding an endless competition. This is why the first stage is psychological. You must stop playing the status game. You must stop asking, how do I look? And start asking, how strong am I financially? Those questions produce completely different lives. One creates appearances, the other creates power. But there is another trap hiding inside stage one, and it is even more dangerous. You can become extremely disciplined and still remain poor. You can wake up early, work hard, save every penny, avoid unnecessary spending, and still struggle financially. Why? Because discipline alone cannot create wealth. You need leverage, and that brings us to the second stage. Stage 2. Stop selling only your time. This is where the game changes. Most people have been trained to exchange time for money. You work an hour, and someone pays you for that hour. You work 8 hours, and you get paid for 8 hours. You work 40 hours, and you get paid for 40 hours. It sounds fair. But there is a hidden ceiling. You only have 24 hours in a day. You can only work so many hours. Your energy has limits. Your body has limits. Your attention has limits. And eventually, you discover the uncomfortable truth. If your income depends entirely on your personal time, your income has a ceiling. This doesn't mean employment is bad. It doesn't mean everyone needs to quit their job. It means you must understand the difference between labor and leverage. Labor means you work and you get paid. Leverage means something you create continues producing value beyond the moment you personally work on it. A business can sell while you sleep. A book can sell while you sleep. A software product can serve customers while you sleep. A YouTube video can generate views months after you publish it. An investment can potentially grow without you manually working every hour. A team can produce more than one person alone. These are examples of leverage, and leverage is one of the greatest forces behind wealth. The wealthy don't simply ask, how can I work harder? They ask, how can I make one unit of effort produce many units of result? That is the question you need to start asking. Because working harder is useful, but working in a system that multiplies your effort is transformative. Imagine two people. Person A works 10 hours and earns $100. Person B works 10 hours creating something that can eventually serve 10,000 people. The initial effort may be similar, but the potential outcome is completely different. This is why billionaires aren't simply people who work harder than everyone else. Many people work incredibly hard. Construction workers work hard. Nurses work hard. Farmers work hard. Drivers work hard. Teachers work hard. Parents work hard. Hard work alone does not guarantee wealth. Hard work must be combined with direction, and direction must be combined with leverage. This is where many ambitious people make another mistake. They chase every opportunity. They start 5 businesses, learn 10 skills, join 20 different projects, watch hundreds of motivational videos. But nothing compounds. They are constantly starting and rarely building. Wealth requires concentration. Think about a magnifying glass. Sunlight spread across a large area may feel warm, but concentrated into one point, it can burn. Your effort works the same way. Scattered effort produces little. Concentrated effort can become powerful. Choose a valuable skill. Get extremely good at it. Use that skill to increase your income. Then use the increased income to acquire leverage. Then use leverage to create more income. That is how the cycle begins. Skill, income, capital, leverage, more income, more capital, more leverage, and eventually, compounding. But here's where Machiavelli's thinking becomes particularly useful. He understood that power doesn't always come from doing everything yourself. Power comes from controlling resources, information, relationships, institutions, people, systems, capital. The modern equivalent is not necessarily controlling people. It is controlling productive assets and systems. Imagine you are a talented designer. You can make 10 designs per week. That's useful. But what happens if you build a design agency? Now other designers can work with you. Your income no longer depends entirely on the number of designs you personally produce. Or imagine you are a great programmer. You can write code for clients. But what happens if you create software that thousands of people subscribe to? Now your work has leverage. Or imagine you're a knowledgeable teacher. You can teach one person at a time. But what happens when you turn your knowledge into a course, book, channel, or educational platform? Your knowledge can reach thousands. The principle is simple. Stop asking only, how much am I worth per hour? Start asking, what can I build that continues creating value without requiring 1 hour of my time for every dollar earned? That question can change the direction of your life, but there is a danger. Leverage can make you rich, or it can destroy you, because leverage magnifies. If you make a good decision with leverage, the result can be enormous. If you make a terrible decision with leverage, the damage can also be enormous. This is why you need judgment. And judgment comes from understanding reality, not motivation, not wishful thinking. Reality. You must know what people want, what people pay for, what problems are expensive, what skills are scarce, what markets are growing, what businesses have strong economics, what investments carry unacceptable risk, and most importantly, what you actually understand. Never confuse confidence with competence. Someone can sound extremely confident while having no idea what they're doing. And this is another Machiavellian lesson. Appearances can be powerful, but reality eventually collects the debt. You can pretend to be rich, you can pretend to be successful, you can pretend to understand business, you can convince other people for a while, but numbers don't care. Cash flow doesn't care, debt doesn't care, profit doesn't care. The market doesn't care about your ego. Reality wins, every time. This is why the second stage requires you to become brutally honest with yourself. What can you actually do? What problem can you actually solve? What value can you actually create? What are people actually willing to pay you for? And what are you doing every day that feels productive, but produces nothing? Because activity is not the same as progress. You can spend 12 hours working and move nowhere. You can spend 2 focused hours on the right problem and change your entire trajectory. The wealthy learn to distinguish motion from movement. They stop measuring themselves only by how busy they are. They measure outcomes, revenue, profit, assets, skills, relationships, audience, ownership, knowledge, systems. These are forms of capital. And once you understand capital, you're ready for the final stage. But most people reach this point and make a catastrophic mistake. They finally earn more money. They finally create leverage. Their income increases. And then they do exactly what they promised themselves they would never do. They increase their lifestyle at the same speed. They get a better car, a bigger house, more expensive clothes, more expensive restaurants, more subscriptions, more vacations, more status, and suddenly they are earning 10 times more. But somehow they still feel broke. This is lifestyle inflation, and it is one of the quietest enemies of wealth, because poverty can be obvious, but lifestyle inflation can look like success. You can have a six-figure income and still have no financial freedom. You can have a luxury car and no savings. You can live in a beautiful house and be drowning in debt. You can look successful and be financially fragile. Remember this: rich is not what you earn. Rich is what you keep, what you own, and what your money can produce without requiring your constant labor. And this leads directly into the third stage. Stage 3. Turn money into powerful assets. This is the stage most people dream about, but very few understand. Because once you reach this level, the goal changes. You are no longer primarily trying to make money. You're trying to acquire things that can make money. This is a completely different game. Imagine you receive $100,000. The average person thinks, what can I buy? The ambitious person thinks, how can I turn this into 200,000? The wealthy thinker asks something even deeper. What can I own that can continue producing value for years? That is the question. Because money sitting still is vulnerable. Inflation can reduce its purchasing power. Bad decisions can destroy it. Lifestyle expenses can consume it. But productive assets have the potential to create more value. Businesses, equity, intellectual property, real estate, certain financial assets, systems, brands, distribution networks, technology. The exact asset matters less than the principle. Ownership. When you own something productive, you participate in the value it creates. When you only sell your labor, you receive payment for what you did. When you own productive assets, you can participate in what those assets continue doing. This is why ownership is so powerful. And this is where the Machiavellian blueprint becomes complete. First, control yourself. Then, control your resources. Then, acquire assets that produce resources. Self-control, leverage, ownership, that is the progression.